Kringle is the official state pastry of Wisconsin. It's tender and flaky with a cream cheese filling, sometimes a little fruit, a thin glaze on top. And I've actually never had it until I went to Wisconsin with my dear friend Bridget, who, as it turns out, is somewhat of a Kringle fanatic.
I love Kringle just a little bit. I always leave extra room in my suitcase so that I can pack as many Kringles in there as I possibly can. And I bring them home and the kids love me for at least a week because that's as long as it lasts.
How hard is it to make?
You know, the actual authentic Kringle is basically a Danish. So you're talking about a yeasted dough that's laminated. So all those layers of butter and thyme. The real Kringles take up to 3 days to make.
Oh, wow.
So we wanted a much faster, I'm not going to call this fast, but it's much faster than 3 days. And it's really simple.
Okay.
All right. And you can have Kringle anytime you want. So this is just a block of cream cheese, 8 ounces, and we've let it soften. It's always good to do it at room temperature for a couple hours instead of microwave it. This is a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. And I'm going to add a little bit of lemon zest here. Pack it in. There we go. So I'm just going to mix this together by hand, old country style, until it's all nice and smooth. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Let's move on to our dough. So we're not going to laminate this dough. We're not going to work the butter in. We're almost going to use a pie dough method to work our butter and the fat into the dough. This starts with 4 cups of all-purpose flour. So we have a little bit of sugar here. This is 2 tablespoons of confectioner's sugar. This is 3/4 teaspoon of table salt and 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. That's about a package. I'm just going to blitz this really quickly to bring the dry ingredients together. All right. So that looks good. Now we're going to add our fat to the equation. This is a 1/2 pound. We're making 2 Kringles. So that's 2 sticks of unsalted butter, really well chilled and cut into 1/2-inch pieces. And because we want maximum flakiness without having to do all of that lamination work, we're going to add a little bit of shortening. Shortening's great. It just really adds that flakiness to pie pastry. I'm going to do a similar job here. And this is 4 tablespoons, also chilled and then cut into 1/2-inch pieces. Now I'm going to pulse this until the mixture looks like horse sand. All right. How's that looking?
Wow.
All right, so this is going to come out of the bowl. Now we're going to add our liquid ingredient, sour cream.
Ooh.
2 cups of sour cream. So it's nice and fatty. It's going to add richness, but it also will help with tenderness and flakiness.
And add a little tang.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is going to go right in. All right, and just stir it until the dough comes together.
That is pretty easy.
All right, I'm going to flour my bench here pretty well, just to make sure there's no stickage. All right, and dump all this out. I'm going to bring all this together. And this would be when you were laminating dough, you would put the butter block here and you'd have to start folding and waiting and folding and waiting. No, this is a lot easier. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to cut this in half using my bench scraper. And each of these I'm going to work into a 7 by 3-inch rectangle. So I'm going to get a little piece of plastic, transfer, there we go.
Boy, it really does hold together. It looks so crumbly at the beginning, but it's holding together just fine.
And you can also use the plastic to help it come together too. So we're going to do the second batch of dough exactly the same way, 7 by 3. Wrap it in plastic. It's going to go in the fridge for 30 minutes and then into the freezer for 15. Let it rest and let it really firm up before we move on.
So why the fridge then the freezer?
Yeah, the fridge is going to allow it to rest. Gluten has a hard time relaxing if it goes straight to the freezer, so always a good idea to go fridge first and then freezer.
So that's how you get a tender pastry.
That's exactly right.
All right.
So we've got our benches here, a little lightly floured work surface. Don't be afraid to add a little bit of flour to it. And flour your rolling pin as well.
All right.
And we're going to start rolling out this dough till it's 28 inches long.
Oh, wow.
By 5 inches wide.
Okay.
All right. Now, sometimes it'll start getting wider. You just kind of squidge it back together and force it in the long direction. And I'm kind of working from the center out.
Yeah.
It's always a good idea. That way you don't end up with one area that's super thick. This should be about 1/4 inch thick.
Okay.
Oh, that looks great, Julia.
Yeah, am I good?
Yeah. So we are going to fold this in half, but we want to add our filling now.
Okay.
So I've got your bowl of filling there.
Divide it into half.
Yeah. And we're going to avoid the outer 1/2 inch of our dough here.
Okay.
And we're going to just scoop some of this onto the bottom half this way, bottom half of the dough, and then we're going to spread it out. And if you get a little bit of the filling above that halfway mark, it's totally fine. In fact, that's the best way to err.
Okay.
All right. Now you got a little bowl of water there.
Okay.
And a pastry brush. All right. So we're going to brush this uncovered edge here with water at the bottom.
Okay.
Not the ends though. This is our glue. All right. And now we're going to fold over. So I like to start in the middle.
Okay.
And just fold over so that the ends meet together. And you're just going to lightly press that together. And if at any point the dough starts feeling too warm, you can just put it on a tray and put it back in the fridge.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Pinch the bottoms, not the ends.
Correct. Just that long edge of the dough.
Okay.
And it should glue together almost instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's time to make our racetrack.
Is that why they're shaped like that?
Yeah, so Kringles all over the world are shaped differently, but in Racine, Wisconsin, they're usually an oval.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we're just going to bring this together, kind of make an oval.
Okay.
And you're going to try to tuck one end into that open end. And that's why we did not close those ends. Just like that. And then you're going to press that to secure.
Press that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so bring your tray there. It's been lined with parchment.
Okay.
Gently transfer this to, and quickly, to your parchment lined sheet pan. All right, you've got a piece of plastic over there. Just cover the whole tray as best you can. Instead of 3 days and going back every, so many hours and laminating and folding, you're just gonna cover this, and you wanna refrigerate this for a minimum of 4 hours.
Okay.
But you can do it up to 24 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this is going to make you a hero in the morning if you want to serve it for breakfast. It's fantastic.
It also looks like it could freeze well.
Yeah, it absolutely freezes beautifully. So I'm going to go put these in the fridge, and again, 4 to 24 hours.
All right.
All right, so our Kringles have chilled and rested. They were in there for about 8 hours.
Nice and firm.
Very firm. Yeah, all that butter and the sour cream, you got to keep it super chilled. All right, so now we just want to finish it with a little bit of egg wash here. This is just one beaten egg. No cream, no water, just egg.
And that's just going to make it nice and glossy.
That's right. All right, these look great. Now we're going to bake them in a 350-degree oven. I've got 2 racks in there, one set at upper middle and lower middle. So we're going to bake them 40 to 50 minutes, and I'll rotate the pans and also switch positions halfway through.
Oh.
Oh, these look gorgeous. And of course, I switched them halfway through so they're nice and evenly browned. But we do have to let them cool before we can move on to the next step. So we're going to let them sit here on the wire racks for about 30 minutes. All right, our Kringles have cooled off just a little bit. There's a little bit warm in the middle. Yeah, they're just closer to room temp. And I did move them to a wire rack, but I still have that parchment lined tray underneath because it's almost time to glaze. We have to make our glaze first. Easy, super easy. This is a cup of confectioner's sugar. Going to add 2 tablespoons of milk. I like whole milk. You could use 2%. Skim milk starts getting a little watery.
Yeah.
And this is a ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'm going to use a whisk to just bring this together. All right, so just getting out any lumps. I'm just going to continue to use this whisk to drizzle the glaze over.
Oh. That is gorgeous.
All right, we're going to let that glaze sit for about 10 minutes, and then we can eat.
All right.
We have Kringle ready to eat.
I can't wait to try it.
That glaze just set up just a little bit. There we go. I'm giving you a dainty piece to start.
You can also see there's some layers of flaky pastry. Even though you didn't do a laminated dough, we just used the quick method, you still get some flakes.
Yeah, definitely.
It is the perfect marriage of that creamy filling and that tender flaky pastry.
And it's great for people that don't want a pastry that's too sweet either. This is perfect. We have a couple other variations. We have a double berry. It's got raspberry and some dried cranberries on there. And then we have a pecan kringle because it's the law. You have to make pecan kringle.
Oh,
definitely,
really?
Definitely. I think it's Wisconsin's favorite. And those are both available on our website.
Bridget, thank you for showing me how easy this spectacular pastry is to make.
It was a lot of fun making it with you.
There you have it. If you want to make the ultimate kringle, start by making a simple cream cheese filling flavored with lemon. Use butter, shortening, and sour cream in the dough. and chill the dough both before and after shaping. From Cook's Country, a fantastic recipe by way of Wisconsin, cream cheese kringle. This is incredible.
We're still going to make road trips, right? You get more kringle?